All right, I think we should be live right now. I'm not sure if you guys can see the stream, but if you can, just tell me in the stream chat, and then we'll get started here. All right, 17 viewers, not too bad. Like, I honestly did not expect that many. Let's see. Wait, can you guys hear me too? I'm not sure if my audio is going through. Let's see. I'll just wait it out a bit. All right, so I see Codsworth. Yeah, you're good. I can hear. All right, awesome. All right, so seems like we have some people here. All right, so to be honest, I didn't really plan the stream out like too much. I just I think I'll keep it to around like half an hour to an hour, and I'm pretty much just going to be answering anything related to college admissions, MIT, life, like whatever you guys want. But yeah, just start posting questions in the stream chat, and then I'll go ahead and answer whatever you guys are curious about. And if it's helpful, then I'll probably do more of these in the future as well. Also, my window's open. If you guys are hearing too much background noise, just tell me. What was the first EC listed on your Common App? All right, so let's see. All right, I will answer that question in like 2 seconds. Let me just go ahead and bump this on Reddit. All right, so we see the questions coming through. Don't worry, guys. I'll answer everything right here. Let me just make sure. Let me just update Reddit. I'm just gonna quickly create a post here. Let me get the stream link. Copy. I'm live. Come ask me anything about college admissions and MIT. Come join the stream. I'll be live for around an hour. All right, post. All right, if you guys can upload that on Reddit, that would be awesome. But yeah, other than that, all right, let's get started here. So, all right, the first extracurricular I listed on my Common App. So in high school, I actually did a lot of web development. So I did a lot of like entrepreneurship type activities. And so the first activity I actually mentioned was like this network of websites that I ran throughout high school. And yeah, so to be honest, I didn't even know that I could put this extracurricular on my application. So the way it actually worked was I started these websites back in middle school or elementary school. Like I just kind of picked up coding at a super young age. And it wasn't because of parents, it wasn't because of anything. When I was young, I just really liked playing like these online games. And then I decided to make like a blog about them. And through that little project that I started in like middle school, I just picked up like HTML, CSS. And then on these websites, I slowly gained like an audience. And I remember by the time like freshman year of high school came around, I had already gotten like millions upon millions of page views on these websites. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll just continue it. And then I didn't really even consider putting it on my application until like 11th or 12th grade, when one of my friends was like, dude, like you should definitely put this on your Common App. And I was like, oh yeah, like it actually does make sense to put it on my Common App. Because at first I thought I was only going to put stuff like National Honor Society and Key Club and those kinds of things. But then I realized that these websites also counted as an extracurricular. Yeah, if you guys have more questions about that EC in particular, I'll be like more than happy to answer it. Can you talk about your experiences with essays and such, like what was successful for you and your peers and what it seems like admissions officers want? Okay, so essays, let's see. So I think for me personally, the first essay that I wrote was actually really, really, really bad. And it was the essay that I wrote from my early application. And I actually applied to MIT regular. I applied to pretty much everything regular except for one of the IVs. And that first essay that I wrote was absolute garbage. I thought I really had I thought I had an amazing essay, but then over the course of like the next 2 months before regular applications were due, I actually totally revamped my whole Common App. I created a whole new essay, and I submitted something that I think was like way, way better. So for me personally, I feel like if I could go back in time, I would actually apply to my early school during the regular round. And I think some people do relate to this, but it really, for me personally, I feel like just having that extra time to really fine tune my essay would have been helpful. And let's see, so themes for essays, of course, don't go with anything cliche. Don't go with anything like related to like sports or like, you know, your mission trip to like Africa or somewhere. Like what I actually ended up writing about for the essay I submitted to my regular schools was about the dichotomy between my creative and analytical sides. So, and for this essay, I actually ended up using the corpus callosum as a metaphor. And I remember I learned about it in AP Psych, and then I used that as a metaphor for my essay. And I think that essay did really well because I was fortunate enough to get into a bunch of Ivy Leagues and MIT and Stanford. And I remember on my Stanford letter that my admissions officer sent me, she wrote a little note saying, like, I loved your essay about like the corpus callosum, and I think she wrote some kind of like quirky comment as well, and it was really funny. But yeah, if you have more questions about the essays, feel free to ask more. Let's see, how did you know your Common App topic was the topic? I'm so unsure about whether I'm unique enough. Okay, so let's see. Pretty much every single essay that you can write has already been done. Like mine wasn't anything super unique. I ended up writing about like being creative and analytical, and I wrote about. So I was editor-in-chief of the newspaper club, and so I also wrote about that. And of course, that's not something super unique, but I really made it a story about. So what I see online a lot is that to say if your essay ever fell on the ground and someone else picked it up, like they should be able to know that it was written by you. And sure, I may have written about newspaper club, but I really made it specific to like my experiences in newspaper club. So for example, what I did was I totally digitized like our platform. So before we were always printing out all of our copies on paper, and it was super wasteful, and we didn't have a website, we didn't have social media, we didn't really have anything. So what I ended up doing was I pretty much went up to like the mentor or the head of newspaper club, and I was like, you know what, we should really do this differently. We should make a website. We should digitize the whole platform. And the head at that time agreed, and then the next year I became editor-in-chief, and I just pretty much ran the whole thing. And that was really incorporated in my essay as well. Let's see. All right, so the questions are coming through. How prevalent are donor/legacy admits to Ivies and other prestigious schools worried about applying to the same EA as a ton of legacies? All right, yeah. So my younger brother actually goes to Harvard, and my best friend also goes to Harvard. And from what I hear from them, like there are a ton of legacy and athlete admits to those schools, around 30 to 40%, if I'm not mistaken. But MIT is completely different. MIT really prides itself on being like a pure meritocracy. Like you'll hear that term a lot. And so MIT doesn't consider legacy admit too much. Honestly, like if you're meant to be at MIT, if you have the qualifications, like you will get in. And yeah, I think that's the good thing about MIT is it's really based off of like your actual qualifications, and legacy admits and like, big donations and things like that don't really influence your admissions decision here. All right, biggest honor/award. Honestly, I did not have too many big awards. Like I know a lot of people have a lot of people at MIT especially do like USIMO, IMO, like the chemistry Olympiads, the biology Olympiads, a bunch of different things. And it's actually insane. Like I think MIT has like the highest proportion of like Olympiad medalists of any school like in the nation. And it does get overwhelming at times. Like just the other day, I went to dinner and this guy sat down next to me, and within like 20 seconds of our conversation, I found out that he was like the best chemistry student in all of India. And I was like, dude, that's insane. Like it just comes out of nowhere, and it's really humbling at times. But yeah. So I kind of got sidetracked there. So my biggest honor/award was honestly, so I was nominated for the presidential scholarship. Most kids that go to like really top schools actually get it, but I remember I was just a nominee. And I also did USICO, but I only did the bronze division, so nothing like super, nothing super intense. Let me just quickly check something. All right. All right, awesome. So I'll see the other questions here. I worked on a project at a math summer program this year, but it did not find any new/original significant results. Let's see. So I think if you guys have like specific questions related to like you specifically, DM me on Reddit and maybe I'll answer you there. But I want this stream to be just helpful advice like overall. I don't want to make it like too specific to people, because I feel like that's just like individual consulting, and I don't think that would be like super helpful for everyone. Let's see. What's my major? So I'm currently majoring in computer science, economics, and data science. And at MIT, that's known as 614. And I actually didn't even know what I wanted to major in. Like I knew I was good at like coding and stuff. And so I came into MIT thinking and knowing that I wanted to do something related to computer science, but at the time, most of the computer science majors were associated with some type of engineering, and I had no engineering background whatsoever. So that kind of made me nervous at first, but then MIT came out with 614, which actually combines CS with econ and data science, and there's like no engineering whatsoever. So that's why I chose that major like as soon as I got here. All right, so did you use additional info section, and if so, what for? I did use it for, I did use the section, and actually my additional info section was like a page long, but it doesn't have to be. Like, so what I ended up doing was like in my application, I used a lot of acronyms. I had a lot of places where I could just add a little bit more detail, and that's what I used the additional information section for. So, for example, if I did a bit of research in high school at a local community college, and I used the acronym in the extracurricular section. And then in the additional info section, I just said, I typed out the acronym, and then I wrote out the full name of the college, and I just gave a little bit more details as to like which professor or doctor I was working with, and things like that. But honestly, it's not like the additional info section doesn't make or break your application. It just allows you to add like little details like that, and I think that's what you should really keep it to. What was the interview like if you did one? I did a ton of interviews. I interviewed for like for Yale, MIT, Stanford, Columbia, Dartmouth, Brown, Cornell, like all of them. And I fortunately got into all of those schools. And to be honest, actually, no, I did not interview for Columbia. That was odd. And I was still surprised that I got in. But the interview, honestly, don't sweat it at all. It's actually very, 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 very calm. Like, honestly, it's just a conversation with an alum. It's super, super engaging. And it's actually really fun because you get like an hour or two just to hear from an alum from the school that you really, really want to go to. And you just learn more about the school, learn more about their background, and it's honestly just like a really cool conversation. I remember for MIT, my interview was like 2 hours long. The guy was like super into robots, and to be honest, I knew nothing about robots, but I ended up learning a lot just through the interview. And I don't think it never felt like a formal interview at all. Like I wasn't getting grilled. It was just super calm and reassuring, actually. Scores/stats. So honestly, don't sweat it if you pass like 1540 on the SAT. To be honest, it's been a while since I thought about it. Like I think 1540 is what I've heard. Let's see, for the ACT, if you have a 34, you're fine. But for me personally, I had a 35 in the ACT, and I had perfect scores on all my subject tests, and I had 5s on my APs. So yeah. I know for MIT though, you have to do like 1 math, 1 science subject test. I think that's how it went. And like most kids here have perfect scores on them. But if you have a 790 or 780, like don't sweat it, honestly. Did you upload supplemental materials? I did not. Like even though I had websites, even though I had like design portfolios and things like, even though I could have made like a design portfolio, I just chose not to. To be honest, I felt like my essays, whatever I had on the Common App was already enough, and I didn't really feel like submitting anything supplemental would have been like super helpful. How many schools did you apply to? I applied to Ollie Ivy's, Stanford, MIT, Johns Hopkins, Tufts, and then like 1 safety school, which is my state school. I honestly was a little bit, it was like a risky approach, I would say. But to be honest, I kind of got into my state school early on, and then I knew that besides that, I really just wanted to kind of aim higher. But to be honest, I think if I could go back in time, maybe I should have applied to more safety schools. I think that's always like a really good thing to do. Yeah. Do you think I can somehow complete the Common App essay in 7 days? Yes. Okay, so hear me out. I don't recommend trying to like cram your Common App essay in 7 days. But I remember for me, so when I was applying to college, I remember not sleeping the night of December 31st. I remember I had so many essays to finish. Like I pretty much put everything off until the last minute. And so what I ended up doing was I printed out all of the actual essay questions, and I cut all of the essay questions out on like little strips of paper. And then I had like all these little strips of paper with a bunch of different essay questions, and I just grouped them together on my bed. And like, so I had like these like clumps of essay questions, and I pretty much like copied and pasted chunks from these essays between each other. Like yeah, it was honestly a mess. It's definitely possible to do in 7 days, but you should definitely give it more time and thought, and you should definitely run your essay through family, friends, your teachers, your English teacher especially, and yeah, and just get as much feedback as you can. What are places where you think people can put that extra 10% to improve their Apple, especially for those with less than 1,400 on the SAT? That's a good question. So let's see. If there was one like section of the application that I think you should like put most of your energy into, let's see. I would say it would just be the essay, because like the interview you can't really prepare for. Interview you just kind of walk into, you just talk, and like it is what it is. The extracurricular section, that is like honestly, you can't change that. Your test scores, hopefully by now you already have test scores that you're like willing to use. And you said like you have less than a 1,400, so which is not bad. And I guess if you're sticking with that, at this point, you should just pull all your energy into essays and make sure that your essays are portraying like you in the best way possible. Let's see. Geographical background / high school type. Public school, Northeast. Honestly, my high school, like I don't come from a super crazy background. I honestly just feel like I got super lucky and fortunate through the process. But yeah, public school, really small public school. Actually, my graduating class was like 160 people. Let's see. How do you distinguish yourself as an international applicant? So, to be honest, I don't really know too much about international admissions. But from what I've seen, a lot of the international students here at MIT were at the international level for the Olympiads of their respective countries. Like, I know the international students here from like Bangladesh or India were like an IMO or like, let's see, ICHO, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, like the International Chemistry Olympiad, the International Biology Olympiad. That's what I find here at MIT. Let's see. How did you categorize your honors into non-scholastic and scholastic distinctions for MIT? And did you fill up all 5 spaces? Oh, this is like a MIT specific question. I honestly kind of forget what the MIT application even was like. To be honest, don't overthink it. Honestly, like as long as the awards that you have are on your application, you will be fine. Like don't stress about it too much. I want to do an internship during the 2nd semester of 12th grade. Thoughts on this for the future opportunities? Well, if you're doing something 2nd semester, at that point, it's just a question of whether or not you want to do it, right? Because at that point, it's too late to put it on college applications. So, yeah. I remember I did do a last-minute internship my junior summer, but yeah, 12th grade, honestly, if it's something that you want to do or enjoy, then go for it. All right. I still have research that is pending publication / still searching for a publisher. How do I show this on my app that I've done research and found new data? Okay, so I was actually in a similar situation. So I was also doing research at a local community college, and I actually was not published at the time of me submitting my college applications. So like in my activity descriptions, all I simply said was like pending or like aiming for publication by some certain date. I remember I put that down on my application, and that's what I left it as. All right. Were you optimistic through the applications process? If so, how? All right. That's a good question. So let's see. Let me think about how the application process went for me. So to be honest, I think so, because I actually got into my first HIPSUM school in November, and I didn't apply early, but I actually ended up getting a likely letter from Yale. And like as soon as that happened, like that early on, I was pretty confident and happy after that. And I think that's why I didn't go too hard in January applying to like other schools besides like the Ivies. But yeah, so in November I got a call from a Yale admissions officer. I remember I was like driving to like the movies with some friends, and then like I randomly get this call, and they're like, "Is this go hard?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then it was like this admissions officer, and she was like, "Oh, congratulations! Like we'd like to invite you to like the science weekend at Yale." And so the kids who get likely letters are generally like the STEM students that Yale targets, and they get invited to Yale like a few days before Bulldog Days happens. And it's pretty much like 2 days of just Yale showing like us all their science centers, labs, and things like that. And yeah. And so as soon as that happened, I was like super optimistic. And I was like, you know what, like I think I'll be fine in the end. And everything just ended up working out. Reason behind picking MIT over HYPS. So let's see. Stanford, too far. Yale, too close to home. And MIT was like that perfect distance. But also I felt that if I wanted to do CS and econ combined, like MIT was a way better option than Yale in that regard. But of course, like all these schools are fantastic. You can't really go wrong with any. How do I motivate myself through the application process? I'm so bad with delayed gratification and I'm really not feeling it. All right, so how do you motivate yourself? Honestly, for me, it was just like always looking at the end goal. Like I would always look at vlogs, like videos of like a day in the life at these schools. And I would always imagine myself there, and I would be like to myself, like I want to be there one day. And I think like, I would just get excited, like learning more about these different schools. And I feel like just imagining myself in a position where I was able to attend them, that really motivated me through the entire process. All right, let's see. And also, by the way, guys, I think I might do more live streams in the future. I'm going to be wrapping this up by like midnight, but yeah, if I don't end up getting to your question or anything, just feel free to like subscribe or follow me on Reddit, and I'll do more streams in the future. Let's see. All right. Any tips for someone with ordinary ECs with no state/national distinction? Honestly, I feel like it doesn't matter if you don't have state or national distinctions. Honestly, just through your application, you should come across as a motivated, curious, like motivated and curious student, and you should also come across as a leader. Like leadership is very important, especially for top tier schools. Like as long as you can just show through your application that you have like some sort of unique passion, and I hate using that word, but some sort of unique activity or thing that really makes you click. And as long as you can show on your application that you went super, super far with it in a really like unique way, then you should be fine. If my ACT super score is 34 and SAT is 1500, should I not just send the SAT? To be honest, it's been so long since I've thought about the ACT or SAT. I'm not sure what the conversion is. I think a 34 is a bit higher, right? Yeah, so I think if you have an option, just send a 34. Any special things about MIT they've experienced that I could mention in my supplements? I think you should do some research yourself in that end, because I don't think I should be telling you what to write about MIT. Like you should learn about MIT yourself, find out what you love about MIT, and then tell MIT why you love MIT, right? Like, but there, yeah, I can't really think of anything at the top of my head, unfortunately. I have literally no honors/awards. That'll be too bad. Top 10. Is it possible to compensate? That's a very specific question. To be honest, I can't like tell you yes for sure, because like okay, sure, like let's say if you don't have honors or awards, but then it really depends on many other factors, including your like letters of recommendation, and those also factor in a lot for colleges. So, and I have no insight into your essays or those letters, so I can't really tell you. But I mean, what I can tell you is that if they're really good, then of course they can partially compensate at the very least. Is it possible to do research without a mentor? I come from a small town, so I don't have the opportunity to collaborate with the university professor. I think it's possible, but I feel like it'd be very hard. I've never tried it. I don't know anybody who's tried it, but I'm sure there's like a ton of resources online about how you can conduct research. But for me, the way I did it was there was like these like small community colleges near where I lived. I just went on like their computer science department pages, found a few professors that I thought were pretty interesting, emailed them, and then some of them didn't email me back, but some of them did, and then I just followed through with those that did and took on some positions. Also, thank you for this live stream. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, no worries. Like the whole point of this live stream was a Q&A, so like, yeah, I'm not overwhelmed by the questions. It's totally fine. All right, favorite class at MIT. Let's see. So I was about to say 1401, but I was like, wait a minute, that's going to make no sense to you guys. So what's funny about MIT is that all of our buildings, all of our majors, all of our classes are numbered. So for example, my major is 614 and my favorite class is 1401, but that probably means like nothing to you guys. But yeah, 1401 is microeconomics here at MIT. And I thought I was really into CS only, but then that was my first econ class. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I think that really solidified my decision to major in both CS and econ. All right. Let's see. For your letters of recommendation, what subjects did the teachers teach and what year of high school did you have them? So I had one STEM teacher, one humanities teacher. I actually had my STEM teacher my freshman year and my junior year. And that was because she taught like two different classes and I ended up having her twice. And I was like, yeah, I think she would just be a super clear choice to have as one of the writers for my recommendation letters. And then the other one was my AP Lang, AP Lit teacher. And that was a junior year. All right. Also, how common our class is graded on a curve slash incentives to be screwed over. Okay, so classes are graded on a curve. Pretty much every single one of the classes that I've had here has been. What's really funny though is that one of our classes here is the Intro CS class. So people who come to MIT either are like super, super good at computer science, and there are some people who have never like coded, getting hundreds on everything. And then you will have people who are like all the way on the other end, like getting nothing right. Like it's really interesting. There's no like middle ground really in this class. Like it's almost like you know or you don't. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I've only had ECs my last 2 years, so it's been difficult to develop a spike. Do you have any tips for applicants like me? Let's see. Well, it depends. Like, are you a senior now? And like, if you're a senior, like, there's no way you can really develop a spike now. Like the spike just kind of comes through from like your early development through high school, and I think perhaps it would be a bit too late to develop a spike. But I mean, I don't know. Just think through your application. Think about like there may be some hidden activities that you did like your freshman year that you could write about that maybe you forgot about, and yeah, be sure to think about like those missing activities. How should someone go about an application who has some good ECs but not a lot of hours per week doing them? Just be honest. I know a lot of people try to like mess around with their hours. They try to like exaggerate a little bit, and then it just comes across as unrealistic. Like there's no way that you're doing like 40 hours of extracurriculars a week, like in addition to classes. Like some of it just sounds absurd. So make sure that like you're being honest and that the math actually makes sense. And yeah, I remember I had a few activities on my application that were like 2 hours a week, 1 hour a week, like, and you shouldn't feel bad about them. But for me, I think they were just towards like the end of the application. Like I filled up all 10 slots on my extracurricular section, but those last few ones were just like super low commitment. How many rec letters do I send to each school? Just two. At least for me, that's what the case was. I just sent like my one STEM letter with my one letter from a humanities teacher, and that was it. Did you take the AMC? I did not. No. The only thing I did was USICO, and that was the bronze division, which is like nothing compared to what kids here do. Like people here go off to like the International Computing Olympiad, or they do like the platinum division or something crazy. Friends in the School of Humanities? If so, what's their experience with recruiting and internships? So let's see. I don't. What do you mean? Like, do you mean like is most of my friends here are just all like in STEM or in engineering or computer science, or as in job prospects? Okay, yeah. No, if you're in humanities, then like your job prospects are still fine. I have a ton of friends at Harvard who are majoring in like English or government or like some other humanities field, and they're doing just fine. Because like even with a humanities degree, you can go into consulting or banking or a bunch of different fields. And honestly, like, majoring in humanities is not like bad at all. Oh, MIT specifically. So I actually don't know of anyone here. Let me think. No, I think there are like a few like architecture and like majors who are like doing like exceptionally well. Like honestly, like your major doesn't matter at all because I think if you're coming from a school like MIT, it's clear that maybe that you can like learn really fast, and that doesn't really hinder your job prospects at all. Did you have any hooks? Not really. I just came from a super small high school, so I think like, I'm not sure if that counts as a hook, but I know a lot of people come from like really like high end like preppy schools, and that wasn't me. SAT and GPA, I think I said earlier. So my ACT was a 35, my GPA was a 4.0. Let's see. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, or like, even if you guys have questions that are like not about college admissions, like feel free to ask. Like if you guys want like a late night tour of MIT, I can honestly pull up a live stream on my phone, like walk out of my dorm and show you guys around. Like I can, we don't have to keep it just college applications. Favorite drink? Boba. I used to never drink boba until I came to MIT, and some of my friends exposed me to it. Super good. How bad is it to have a 3.6 GPA? See, like these questions are very hard to answer in isolation because sure you can have like a 3.6 GPA, but then if you're like an IMO medalist, then that totally compensates for it, right? But so I would say with the 3.6 GPA, like your prospects aren't over as long as like the other aspects of your application are really strong. Favorite Playboy Cardi League? I actually haven't listened to them. How's the workload? It's a lot, a ton. It's very hard. I think the stereotype is that MIT students are like constantly grinding, and while that is true, I feel like MIT has a really good work hard, play hard culture because in all of Boston, I don't think any other school parties harder than MIT, and that's a fact. Like this past week, I had like a midterm, 3 pieces due, a lab, a quiz, and honestly, you just kind of grind through it through the week. And like if you make like the right friend groups, it's not too bad honestly, because like if you work on it together, like you'll get it done way faster than like working on it alone. And people here are like super collaborative, super friendly, and it's been good, even though it's a lot of work. Tips and tricks for college. That's like this whole stream in general. So like honestly, just replay this stream at any point, and like these are your tips and tricks. How are you paying for college? I have a scholarship, fortunately. So is it possible for me to finish 8 application essays by November 1st? Like anything's possible, right? Like, it is possible, but I would definitely suggest like getting started now or tonight and like start planning so you don't lose any more time. All right, how to deal with stress during college app season and in general. College app season, so it is very stressful, but don't let that stress make you procrastinate, because I feel like my issue was like I constantly had that stress and I put off actually working on my applications. Keep yourself motivated, like get a schedule down, like try to set some deadlines or goals for like every single day in the week and make sure that you're meeting those goals and deadlines. For example, like get your essays done early, make sure you have like certain dates down so you don't feel as stressed. What are you listening to currently? Like album, playlist, / artist. I can literally pull up Spotify right now, but honestly, I pretty much exclusively listen to like rap and hip hop, like DaBaby, Post Malone, like old Drake. Let's see. Guess I can forever won't forget that, but yeah, pretty much anything like hip hop or rap related. Sticking with. Honestly, they overplayed that at so many parties last semester. Fortunately, I haven't heard Mo Bamba at a party in a very long time. Realistically, would it be more harmful or helpful to put watching YouTube as an EC? Don't do it. Like my gut, as soon as I read that, like I would just say don't do it. Are you an athlete? I don't do sports at MIT, but I did do sports in high school, and I put that down on my application. I was doing cross country and track, so like the most basic sport you can do, really. Where else did you get info / apply to? Oh, what do you mean get info? Oh, get into. Okay, sorry. All right, so I applied to, I said it earlier, but I'm sure I got new viewers. So I applied to all the Ivy, Stanford, MIT, Johns Hopkins, and like a few safety schools. I got into Stanford, MIT, Yale, Columbia, Penn, Brown, Cornell, Dartmouth, and then like other schools too, but those were like the big name ones that I got into. How's extracurriculars and getting into them? Is it competitive? Yes, it actually is pretty competitive, surprisingly. So my freshman year, so there's like a bunch of business consulting clubs at MIT, and I remember like they're very competitive. Like their acceptance rate for some of these activities are like 10%, 5%. I was fortunate enough to get into one of the business ones here, and yeah, it's really fun. Let's see. How can I learn programming on my own? So here, I feel like a lot of people try to learn programming by just going straight to like Codecademy and like doing these Python lessons or like PHP lessons or like HTML lessons. And honestly, I feel like that's very boring. Like the way that I learned programming was like it was very slow. Like I pretty much had like a project in mind, right? Like I knew that I wanted to make websites, and like with this end goal in sight, I then learned like the necessary skills I needed to make like that project a reality. I think if you don't, I feel like if you just learn programming just for the sake of learning programming, it's going to be very boring because you're not going to understand like the direct application of what you're learning. Excited for Jesus King. Wasn't that supposed to drop like a while ago? Like honestly, like I don't know what the status on that is now. r/learn programming. Yeah, I've heard that's good. I think I've used Codecademy at some points, but honestly, just Google and like read books, and you should be fine. Let's see, what were your ECs? Sorry, I didn't hear. Oh, my extracurriculars. So let's see. I had my whole website network that I ran. That was like my main one. Like I had this whole like business entrepreneurship website activity that I put down, and I think I listed it as like website portfolio manager or something. I had newspaper club editor in chief. I had like cross country, but I think that was in my additional information section. I don't think that made it into my top 10 EC list. Let's see, what else did I have? I had my research. I had like a couple internships. National Honor Society, that was like at the bottom of my list, honestly, and a few more. But it's been so long, so I'm sorry, I can't recall them all like at the top of my head right now. He says it's still coming out. We're 11:38. Yeah, honestly, I think like college admissions is like I feel for you guys. Like it's a roller coaster, and like your friends are, I don't know, if you have friends that are also applying to like super competitive schools, then it just gets really weird and awkward because like for me, like my best friend, he was also applying to like all these top schools. And then when I got that call from Yale, like I knew he applied early to Yale, and then he didn't get in. And then I got like that likely letter call, and it was just like super awkward for like a solid month because like I got into his dream school, but then like he ended up getting to Harvard, so he was fine. But like I remember there was like this 2-3 month period in which he was like super sad because he was like, oh my God, like there's no way I'm going to get into a good school. Like he got denied from his dream school. I got into his dream school, and he was like, dude, like my life's over. But like he ended up getting into 4 Ivies too. So like good for him, right? Would you call top 10 college admissions a lottery? To an extent, it is. But also, I feel like college admissions in general is like a representation game, right? Like there are so many applicants going for like these top schools. At the end of the day, it just comes down to how you represent yourself, because like there's no way that you can be like 100% unique, right? There's going to be so much overlap between you and a bunch of other applicants. So like your best way to shine is through your essays, interview, and your recommendation letters. Like make sure those are really strong, because if those are, even if your ECs or awards aren't like super, or even if your ECs like awards and scores aren't like all that, like you can still compensate for sure. Are there any dorms that are weirdly designed? I remember seeing a video of a place with a curved wall a while ago. So if you guys want to see a weird building at MIT, it's not a dorm. Search up Stato. Here, I'll type it in. Stato Center at MIT. This is like where most of our CS stuff is at MIT, and this is like the craziest building you'll see in your life. And I go to it like every day for class. So yeah, it's gotten old by now. But I remember like the first week of school, I was like that's insane. Is that the one with the pointy things? Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up the stream in like 20-ish minutes. But yeah, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And well, yeah, like, would you guys like more streams in the future? I can do one like next week, or honestly, whenever I'm free. Like, I just had time tonight, so I was like, I might as well just do this. Like, yeah, just let me know in the chat if you guys would like more of these. So essays over stats or vice versa. Essays. Like, honestly, I feel like your stats just have to meet like a certain threshold, and as soon as like, you're there, you're fine, and you don't have to worry about them too much. But essays you can like continuously work on. And, like, like your essay is like the way that you want to portray yourself to colleges, and like that's what you really have to perfect. What's the threshold? Okay, so like it's not like a hard threshold, right? But I mean, like, if you look at the averages of top schools, like for example, anything Hips or any of the Ivies, like the ACT average is like at least above like a 30. Yeah. But the golden question, yeah, like everyone's always like, is my score good enough? Like, should I retake? Like, don't worry about it too much. Honestly, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that if you guys are on this stream, I'm pretty sure you guys are like all smart. So 1500 SAT, yeah, that's perfect. Honestly, like don't sweat it too much. What was your process for starting your essays? Like, how did you brainstorm different topics? And did you read essays that worked? I did read essays that worked, and I think that was my biggest downfall because I read like so many different essays from like I think like there's like this book that's like all like 50 essays that worked for Harvard or something. Like I forget what it was called, but it's very easy to read all these essays and then just try to create some like artistic masterpiece that mirrors them. And that's honestly like, I think that was my downfall at first because those essays just came out super like cliche, meaningless, a word vomit. Like honestly, they were terrible. So I think the best way to really know, or the best way to start an essay is to kind of brainstorm what aspects make you you. And I know that's not super helpful, but think about like the activities that you're part of that really kind of define your identity. And like the essay is not a place to show off about like your accomplishments. It's to really kind of just speak to your character. Because at the end of the day, like these colleges do want like leaders. They want people who are creative, curious, like humble, or kind to other people. Of course, you hear all these adjectives and like descriptive words like all the time, and like your essay is the place to show that. All right, I think someone asked me about my room. Yeah, this is my dorm. This is a single. I was fortunate enough to have a single every single year at MIT, and I think I got super lucky because whenever I tell people that I had a single my freshman year, they're like, "Oh my god, like how did you do that?" And to be honest, I just got lucky because for housing, they give you this application, and you get to kind of justify why you want a single. And yeah, so I think I wrote something like, "Oh, I just want a place where I can like decompress at the end of the day," and like I think that was good enough. But at the same time, it's also just like luck. What's the person to bathroom ratio on average? That's a pretty funny question because I remember I was a bit nervous about like what that whole thing would be like. I was like, are the bathrooms going to be nasty? Like, well, what's that going to be like? Um, it's not bad at all. It's just like maybe like 4 or 5 people to a bathroom, but it varies greatly depending on like what school you go to, what dorm you're housed in, etc. Do you think you're going to become one of those college YouTubers? Thoughts on that? Honestly, I feel like that'd be really fun. And like I've thought about it. Like, yeah, I would be down to, but I think first of all I need a better camera. And like I did a lot of video editing and cinematography in high school, so I feel like if I had like the right equipment, I might be able to do it or pull it off. But I also need a lot of free time. So I think it would be fun. Like I'm thinking about it still. We'll see how it goes. Is it easier to make friends in college than in high school? Let's see. It is pretty easy to make friends in college. Like I feel like everyone's high school experience varies. Like it was also fine for me to make friends in high school, but in college it's also definitely very, very, very easy. Like at MIT especially, like frat life is very, very big. And more than half the guys here are in frats, and I'm in a frat, and I've gotten super close with all my frat brothers. I joined a bunch of different clubs. You also just hang out on like your floor lounge and you just meet people every single day. And there's also way more people here too, so it's definitely a lot easier to make friends. Thoughts on Caltech? People here don't talk about Caltech too much. I feel like Caltech is even more hardcore than MIT, to be honest. I feel like MIT has like a nice balance of like a lot of like hardcore STEM, but people here are also like super creative and friendly. But I'm just basing this totally off of stereotypes, but I feel like people at Caltech are like a lot more intense with their STEM education. I just want to take a minute to appreciate this unfiltered and raw information. Yeah, of course. I hope all this is helpful for you guys. How did you approach the why answer college supplements? Okay, this is funny. Like, I distinctly remember I went like really hard with these on my Columbia application. So I just dug deep into the internet and found like the most specific details about like a club or an activity that I wanted to be part of, and I just wrote about that. And in these essays, I always kind of like I don't know. In hindsight, I feel like this might not have been the best approach, but I kind of wrote them like little stories or narratives where I was like actually like already at this school or in this activity, and I was like, oh, it'd be like I think I wrote like these little stories from the standpoint that I was already in these activities, and I was like, I would love to contribute to this more at your school, something like that. Let's see. Do you think ECs related to your field or of major are more important than, say, leadership positions? Leadership positions are very, very important. As it sucks because I know that a lot of people are very passionate about like what they do and like they're great on their own. But I know, especially the Ivies, I know they're super like on like having leaders at their school, and like it does get kind of annoying because like MIT and Caltech, they're all like, okay, yeah, we just want like really smart, curious, intellectually curious people here. But then like some of these more schools have like the stereotype of being like a bit more like pretentious. Like I don't know, but yeah, leadership is important. But you do want a nice balance between like having these positions and also having things that are related to the field you want to study in. You said you come from a smaller town. How were the classes that you took? So I did come from a very small town, but like I was fortunate enough to take a good amount of AP, which is kind of unusual for like most small towns. I ended up taking like I actually don't know, maybe like 10 APs. I think. I know. I think one year I had like 5 APs, 5 or 6 APs. And I think that was like my junior, senior year. And I think I just went super hardcore that year. Single is preferred. Yeah, I definitely prefer having a single to roommates. But I think you have to balance it out well because like if you have a single, for some people it's very easy to just kind of get like trapped and like lose contact with people. But to be honest, I just come here to sleep, and then the rest of the day I'm like either studying like in the libraries or like the study spaces, or I'm in my frat house like talking to the brothers. Like I try my best to not like isolate myself here because then I feel like you're kind of missing out on college or on like meeting new people, right? Does MIT have hot water and showers 24/7? All right, this is actually a very funny question because lately like it hasn't been, and it's been annoying me a lot because like I get into the shower and like I literally turn it on and I literally wait like 5 to 10 minutes for like the hot water to start coming through, and like in years past it hasn't been that bad. Usually like there would be hot water all the time, but it's been really annoying lately. So yeah, like, I'm kind of surprised that you asked like such a specific question that like hit me like that well. Make me hate MIT. I'm preparing for my rejection in December. I don't know. I don't want to diss my own school on this like live, but like MIT is very hard, and I feel like that's like the biggest complaint that you'll hear. Like this place will overwork you, and at times it will tear you down. But you nowhere else will you like learn faster or grow more than during college or at MIT. I think college in general, honestly, is just that like a period of time in which you just grow super, super fast and really get pushed to your limits. Let's see. I'm just saying I would definitely watch you to become a college YouTuber. All right, I appreciate that. Like, yeah, I'm definitely thinking about it. Let's see. Would you recommend using the college's subreddits as info for why school supplements? I never did that, but honestly, I think that would be a great idea, right? Because like on these subreddits, you have actual students writing content, and I think that should give you better insight into what these schools are like. But if everyone is a leader, then there's no one for them to be led. I mean, fair point, but yeah, like it's just the way the system works. How important is upward trend? In what sense? Like upward GPA? Yeah, if you just be a bit more specific, that would be helpful. I think there should be a mix of leadership and membership. Oh yeah, of course. You don't want to be a leader in like every single one of your activities because that just looks weird. That's like if you're a leader in everything, then it just becomes a question of are you actually trying these activities? Or are you like actually committed to them? And then it just becomes a bit suspicious. Let's see. What's your experience with hackathons at MIT? So I did Hack MIT my freshman year at MIT, and it was a lot of fun because there's a lot of like free stuff going around. But to be honest, I feel like my team and I we didn't really we didn't go too hard. Like we tried for maybe like 2 or 3 hours, and then after that we just went out and got dinner and just hung out together. Like there were just like some new friends that I just made through the hackathon, and we ended up like not submitting anything. But yeah, no, they're really fun and they're like actually massive here. Upward GPA. Let's see. Upward GPA. I feel like just having a high GPA in general is very important. And I mean, if it's upward, then becomes a question of like maybe why was it like low in the first place? For me personally, I just had a very consistent GPA throughout all of high school. But if you find that maybe perhaps you started off a bit low but went up, like that's great because colleges want to see improvement, right? Do you think being co-president is treated differently than being president to admissions officers? It honestly, it's not a big deal. Like co-president, president, like you're still a leader. They're like that's not going to make or break your application in any way. Have you participated in MIT Mystery Hump before? I have not, but it's huge. And like the puzzles get very, very hard, and I'm very surprised at how people here actually like manage to solve them. Like when I see some of these puzzles and I see the puzzles that like some of the people solve, like my mind's honestly just blown. Let's see. What's the hackathon? It's called Hack MIT, and it's hosted like every fall. Are there a lot of people on the pre-med track at MIT? There's actually like a good amount. Like, one of my closest friends is pre-med, and I know like probably 5 other at pre-meds here. Do you think all applicants are pretty much the same when they hit the top 10% mark? I mean, insights and location in life become more important after the top 10. Yeah, I feel like once you're in the top 10%, you're already in like that general group of applicants or people that are like vying for like these top colleges. So yeah, like if you're already in that ballpark of like rank, GPA, and scores, then it just really becomes a matter of like presenting yourself up through the application really effectively. And like at that point, colleges just want to hear your story and learn more about you. Awesome. All right, so we're wrapping that 1 hour mark. I'll just kind of take the last few questions here. Athletics at MIT. I've probably been asked if we have a football team like 50 times already, and the answer is yes, we do. We have a D3 football team, and we have like all the sports here. We have a bunch of sports teams at MIT. Like athletics are a thing at MIT. I guess if that's what you're asking. How did you approach conveying your research experiences in your essays? So I actually didn't write about my research at all anywhere. It was just on my Common App EC list. I wrote down that I was like a research assistant to this professor. And then I think, as I said earlier, in the additional information section, I just wrote down like 1 or 2 sentences about who the professor was and like what school I was actually researching at. Do you think race/culture has a significant impact on admissions, or is it overblown by the media? It definitely has an impact for sure, but I do think it's overblown. I think at the end of the day, if you're just someone that's like interesting or captivating to the admissions officers, then you should be fine. And you shouldn't like blame an admissions decision on your race. Like if you're meant to be at a school, like you will be there. Oh, are there any stereotypes among the STEM majors in MIT? I feel like you have like this overarching stereotype maybe of like MIT students being like a huge cohort of like nerds. And I mean, to an extent, yeah, like right, like we were all like smart in high school and like we had good grades and stuff. But the people here are also like very, very interesting, and they have like crazy stories like, from their life. And like the people here are like very engaging and very fun to be around. And I think that's something that people perhaps don't think too much about when it comes to MIT, but it's definitely true. How do you stick out other than being a leader? How do you stick out? So if your teachers love you, then your recommendation letters will help a lot. I didn't read my letters, but I know that my science teacher, she literally wrote like 3-4 pages about me, and I think that was a bit too much. But like, she told me that she just like kept writing, and like I think I feel like that letter definitely helped a lot through the whole process. Check myself. Honestly, like MIT admissions is just, I appreciate the process because MIT admissions, like they really pride themselves in like the whole meritocracy aspect. Like if you're qualified to be here, you will be here. What's your daily outfit like? It's been getting really cold up in Boston lately. Like for the past few weeks, it's just been like t-shirts. But yeah, I think now I need to start pulling out the hoodies and like the jackets. Will you do this again or post more on Reddit? I mean, personally, would love to soak up more of these awesome insights. Yeah, I'm definitely down to do this again. And I will be posting more to Reddit, so just be sure to follow me on Reddit so you get like notified when I post, and also subscribe and like turn on notifications. Why did you pick MIT? So MIT I just felt it was the best school to go to if I wanted to study CS and econ, and Stanford was just too far. I feel like MIT and Stanford really stick out if you're trying to do like CS or econ or anything like STEM related, but Stanford was just too far, so MIT just kind of became the immediate choice in that case. All right, awesome. So we're almost at an hour here, so I guess I'll just go ahead and wrap up the stream. But yeah, guys, like thanks for coming on. Yeah, of course. I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope everything I said was helpful for you guys. And like this should be uploaded to my channel so you guys can like replay and like hear like the tips that I gave. And yeah, if you have more questions, I'll be doing another live stream maybe sometime this week, sometime next week. But yeah, just be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I hope to see you guys there. Thanks. Yeah, of course. All right. Have a good night, guys.